Hey guys, it is Sophia the Shadow Hunter, and today I'm doing my April TBR. Today is April 3rd, 2020. This is already the third day of the month, and I should have had this video filmed, but I have been picking up a lot of extra shifts at work, so that's been good and fun and crazy and everything, and I've gotten really behind on, I was 3 books behind schedule, now I'm only 1. I'm off today, so I hope to get a lot of reading done, and I'm going to try to read a little bit on the days I work because it's really hard to keep up with my reading schedule if I don't read at all for those 2 days. So let's get started. Please let me know in the comments below the books you want to read in April and the next month and what you guys read last month. So let's get started. So the first book I want to show you guys I'm going to read is Lost Roses by Martha Hall Kelly. I bought this book in February, before everything went crazy and on lockdown. This is, I think it's a sequel or a prequel to Lilac Girls, which I reread last month and I loved it. So here it says, it is 1914 and the world has been on the brink of war so often. Many New Yorkers treat the subject with only passing interest. Eliza Faraday is still to be traveling to St. Petersburg on the trip of a lifetime with her close confidant, Sophia Streshyan, a cousin of the Romanovs, to see the splendors of Russia, the church with the interior covered in its jeweled mosaics, the remembrance of the Tsar's Winter Palace, the famous ballet. But when the Austria declares war on Serbia and Russia's imperial dynasty begins to fall, Eliza escapes back to America while Sophia and her family flee to their country estate. In need of domestic help, they hire the local fortune teller's daughter, Vankria, unknowingly bringing intense danger into their household. On the other side of the Atlantic, Eliza is doing her part to help the White Russian family find safety as they scared the revolution. But when Sophia's letter suddenly stops coming, she fears the worst of her best friend. From the turbulent streets of St. Petersburg and the aristocrat countryside estates, the Avenue of Paris, where society of fallen Russian emerges, lives the main street of Long Island. The lives of Eliza, Sophia, and Vankria will interest in profound ways. This book sounds great. I can't wait to read it. If you guys have read them, please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next, I have 50 Children by Stephen Pressman. One ordinary American's couple extraordinary rescue mission to the heart of Nazi Germany. I've owned this book for a while and I still have yet to read it, so that's why I'm going to read it this month. It says 2 ordinary Americans, 50 innocent lives, one unforgettable journey. In early 1939, few Americans were thinking about the darkening storm clouds over Europe, nor did they have much sympathy for the growing number of Jewish families who were increasingly threatened and brutalized by Adolf Hitler's policies in Germany and Austria. But one ordinary American couple decided that something had to be done. Despite overwhelming obstacles both in Europe and the United States, Gilbert and Eleanor Krauss made a bold and unpredictable decision to travel to Nazi Germany in an effort to save a group of Jewish children. This is their story. This book sounds amazing and I can't wait to read it. Next, I have The Wife That Made the Mistress by Ariel Lawhorn, a novel. I received this and I tried out one box from Create Joy. It was called a mystery box, and it came with some books and a movie, and this was in it, and it sounds really great to me. I can't wait to read it. If you guys have others, please know what you think in the comments down below. It says, a wickedly entertaining novel that reconstructs one of America's most famous unsolved mysteries. Justice Joseph Crater's disappearance in 1930, as seen throughout the eyes of the 3 women whom he knew him best. Stella Carter, the judge's wife, is the picture of propriety draped in long pearls and the latest Chanel Ritzy. A leggy showgirl with Broadway aspirations thinks moonlighting in the judge's bed is the quickest way off the chorus line. Maria Simon, the dutiful maid, has Judge Carter to thank for her husband's recent promotion to detective for NYPD. Meanwhile, Judge Carter is equally indebted to Tammany Hall leaders and the city's most notorious gangster, owning the killer Maiden. Then on a sultry summer night, as rumors circulate about the judge's involvement in the wide-scale political corruption, Judge Carter stepped into a cab and disappeared without a trace, or did he? After 39 years of necessary duplicity, Stella Carter is finally ready to reveal what she knows, sliding into a corner booth at Club Abbey, the site of many absentee-soaked affairs and the judge's favorite watering hole back in the day. Stella begins to tell us a tale of greed, lust, and deceit. As the story unfolds, Stella, Ritzy, and Murray slowly break out of their prescribed roles and becomes clear that these 3 women knew a lot more than they initially let on. With a layered intensity, tipsy spins throughout subterranean jazz clubs, the wife, the maiden, the mistress is a gripping tale that will transport readers to a bygone era. But beneath the Art Deco skyline and the intoxicating smell of smoke and whiskey, the question of why Judge Carter disappeared lingers seductively in two twists in the very last pages. This book sounds great. It's right up my alley. I can't wait to read it. Alright, next I have, so actually I bought this book, I guess almost 3 years ago, by Jennifer Teague and Nicholas Summer. My grandfather would have shot me. A black woman discovers her family's Nazi past. It says right here, when Jennifer Teague happened to pluck a library book from the shelf, she had no idea that her life would be irreparably altered. Recognizing photos of her mother and her grandmother in the book, she discovers a stunning fact: her grandfather was Emil Goth, the vicious Nazi commander chillingly depicted by Ralph Fiennes in Schindler's List, a man known and reviled the world over. Although raised in an orphanage and eventually adopted, Teague had some contact with her biological mother and grandmother as a child. It never revealed that Teague's grandfather was the Nazi butcher of Plazzo. Executed for crimes against humanity in 1946, the more Teague reads about Amos Goth, the more certain she becomes that her grandmother had met her, a black woman, he would have killed her. Teague's discovery ends at age 38, but into severe depression and a quest to unearth the fully comprehend her family's haunted history. Teague struggles to reconnect with her estranged mother, Monica, and to accept that her beloved grandfather once lived in luxury as Emmett Gill's mistress at Plaza. Ultimately, Teague's resolute search for her truth leads her step by step to the possibility of her own liberation. This book sounds great. I can't wait to read it. Next, but not least, I have On the Eve by Bernard Wasserstein, The Jews of Europe Before the Second World War. I've also owned this book for about 3 years. This one's a clunker. It says, On the Eve is a portrait of a world on the brink of annihilation. In this proactive book, Bernard Wasserstein presents a new and disturbing interpretation of the collapse of European Jewish civilization even before the Nazi onslaught. In the 1930s, as Europe spiraled toward the Second World War, the continent Jews faced an existential crisis. The harsh realities of the age, anti-Semitic persecution, economic discrimination, and an ominous climate of violence and devastated Jewish communities that shattered the lives of individuals. The Jewish crisis was as much as a result of internal decay as an external attack. Demographic collapse, social disintegration, and cultural disillusion were all taking their toll. The problem was not just Nazism. In the summer of 1939, more Jews were behind barbed wire outside the Third Reich than within it, and not only in its policy in the police states, but even in the liberal democracies of the West. The greatest part of Europe was being transformed into a giant concentration camp for Jews. Unlike the most previous accounts, On the Eve focuses on the anti-Semites, but on the Jews, Wasserstein refutes the common misconception that they were unaware of their gathering forces of their enemies. He demonstrates there was a growing and widespread recognition among Jews that they stood on the edge of an abyss. On the Eve recaptures an agonizing sorrow and ever-ascent cultural glories of this last phase in the history of the European Jews. It explores their hopes, anxieties, and ambitions, their family ties, social relationships, intellectual creativity, everything that made life meaningful and bearable for them. So this book sounds amazing. I can't wait to read it. Please guys let me know what you think of these books, what books you want to read in the month of April. And I'll see you guys next time in another video. Goodbye.